To those of you who work on pants from bottom up, like you make both legs of your pants and then you connect them and start working on the hips, are you okay? Hello girlies, and welcome back to part 2 of making a pair of lounge pants. If you haven't seen the first part where I kind of walk through how I do the shorts portion of pants, so that you can either get a gist for how to make your own shorts or figure out the base of how I do my pants, then I would highly suggest watching it. I'll link it right here. But in this part, we're going to get down into the length and make the legs. Let's start off with a little try on. Here's how we're looking. Honestly, this lighting low-key eats. Also with this... Anyways. As I said earlier, I'm not really much of a shorts girl, but if I were, these are honestly really cute. We don't really have any booty hanging out, but it's still a cute length. Pretty solid, but I already know that these are going to make a 10 out of 10 pair of loungy flare pants. I'll put the inspiration right here and right here. I mentioned in last videos that I don't like the length of this tie, but I'm gonna blame it on the fact that I'm trying to preserve yarn. So if we have some more left over at the end, I will make sure to add some length to it because it's just not giving. We need like a proper bow. Also, in the mirror, we gotta do something about this camel toe. More like that, yeah. Think. While the shorts video was kind of like a how-to, this video is going to be more of like a design process vlog, just because I'm not exactly sure that I'm going to do the legs the same way that I've done my past few pair of flare pants, mostly because I do want them to be more on the loungy side and less on the more fitted side. Kind of if you think of the in-between of my purple pants and my blue pants, where like the blue pants started off a little bit roomy and then they got a little bit tight, something I think I want to fix later, and the purple pants where they're like all tight. I want something very much in between. The first thing we need to do is put this inside out, because as I said in the last video, we always work from the inside just to keep the outside as pristine as possible. Next, we're going to pick a side to start on. I'm going to start on whatever side this is because I already kind of have a little bit of yarn left over. I didn't mention in the other video, but I think the shorts took me like right at 2 skeins of yarn. I think the initial little ball that I had might have been a little bit more than 1, and I still have a little bit of the second one. So I'm gonna guess that this is about 2 skeins of yarn. I am a little worried. I only have 3 skeins of this Karen Simply Soft in the color Soft Blue. I actually got this all during the pandemic, I believe, like right when the pandemic started. Yeah, it says 2020-9/04, so September 4th of 2020, which is interesting. Anyways, I'm really committed to getting these pants done, so while I don't typically like to pick up more yarn for these projects, if I have to in order to complete the legs, I will. And as the book goes, if you give a mouse a cookie and that mouse is a crocheter, then she might also buy enough yarn to make a matching cardigan. I don't make the rules. I'm basically just going to be decreasing. I'm going to play around with the decrease and then I'll come back and let you know which one I decide to do. So I just tried one decrease way and I don't think it's working because I'm decreasing the end instead of the start. So I'm going to try decreasing just the start and not the end to see if that gets what I want. Hello you guys, it is the next morning. I attempted something last night and then that didn't work out, and then I knew I was gonna have to wake up early today, so I just left it for the morning. I have now completed that second or that little bit of yarn that I had left from the second ball of yarn, and this is what the decrease is looking like. Because I want this to be my loungy flare pants, I don't want the decrease to be as drastic as my other pants, hence why I said I wasn't quite certain how these legs are gonna go. So let's try it on to see if we're going in the right direction. This is what we're looking like, and this is feeling very nice. I'm probably about, I don't know, almost halfway through the thickest part of my thigh, and then it's gonna like drop off, but I'm just gonna continue either with this decrease through where my thigh gets skinnier or switch to regular double crochets. Unsure, but the fit is looking good for right now. And my camel toe watch, it does seem like as this is getting way down, the camel toe part is starting to come out a bit, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, I'm about to get ready to drop off some packages and treat myself to a little coffee shop date for the morning. I will update you with my progress when I'm back home later. It's a few hours later. I'm back from the coffee shop and this is my progress. Let's try it on. This is where we're at currently, and I'm liking it. Crochet stretches over time, so I think in this leg part it will definitely probably get ever so slightly more loose. I think that now's a good time to do this last row of double crochets. If this is an even number, then I'm going to switch down to do this as my last row of decrease double crochets, and if this is an even number, then I will switch over to regular, not decreasing. If it's not, then I'll do one more row. Also, if it's like a even measurement, those are two important things. So let's see. I'm loving the fit. These literally feel so comfortable, and it's making me want to turn every bit of my Karen Simply Soft into loungy flare pants. I'm definitely probably going to do it with one more color, to be honest with you. Maybe a second. Like maybe there's one other color for sure, and there might be a second additional color. We'll just have to see. Anyways, love, and camel toe is starting to get slightly better, so you know, but the fit is giving. I like that it's still giving booty. It's not too loose. I counted, and I am in fact currently, well, I didn't have to count, I just looked, but anyways, I am currently at actually maybe while I'm over here being oh no, okay, so I'm just going to finish this row and then do regular rows of double crochet. Let me measure this to see where we're at. Oh wait, no. Okay, I see what's going on here. I had it still right side out, so I do actually have to do one more row of decreases, and then I'll measure it. And then decreases are done. let's measure and see where we're at. So when I take notes both of how many rows I'm doing something for, how many chains like I'm starting with, and how many inches a certain section is, because since I am a made to order, made to measure business, it's important that any design that I have a good understanding of the construction so that I can apply it to any body type. That's at least the sort of science behind it. If you give me your measurements, and especially if I ask for a few more in-depth measurements, it should give me a good picture of what your particular body is going to need in terms of replicating a particular design for you. And that's why the price is the price. I say all that to say, let's measure to see where our decreases have ended so that I can update my sketch. Oh, perfect. It's right at 6 inches, a little bit more than 6 inches, but pretty much 6 inches. And it is 10 inches wide or 20 inches total. Perfection. Let's update this. Oh, actually I think we're actually ending on an odd number because yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm confusing. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9, 19. We are actually ending on an odd number because we started with an odd number. I had 31 rows as the base shorts, so now we have 19 rows as the base decrease. Okay, now that we're all following along. The other reason why it's really important to take detailed notes is, let's say maybe you're not interested in selling your stuff, or let's say you are interested in selling your stuff but you're more so not necessarily doing the made to measure thing. If you decide down the line that you like the item, the silhouette of the item, but you don't like the yarn that you used, sometimes if you only write down the row amount or the chain amount and you don't include the actual measurements, but let's say you decide to go down a yarn size or up a yarn size, or even you decide to change your hook size, that's going to impact the height and length of your rows / chains. So take it from me, it is extremely important to make sure that you're documenting and keeping track of the measurement changes as well as the row / chain changes, because yeah, I would say I've been very intentional about this for the past definitely 2 years, if not 3 years, and it's completely revolutionized the way that I'm able to crochet. Because let me tell you, the first few orders that I got when I first turned this into a business, your girl was stressed because she had an idea of how to create other sizes from the chains and rows, but she didn't feel solid in that. Currently we should be sitting at right around 18 inches. We're right at 18 inches out of a total of 43. That's about how long my leg / waist is. Let's do some quick math. So we're talking about 25-ish more rows. I'm thinking that for the flare, I want that to be about 15 inches tall. So we're working with about 10 more inches of regular double crochet down. And that's on math. No. Literally, these literally feel so comfortable. It's very much so achieving the comfort level that I was hoping for, something that felt on par with the sweatpant, but obviously it's not a sweatpant. Something that could be worn casually, but also, when I say casually, I mean just lounging versus out in public. Casual in more of a street casual type way. Now I know from your view, all you see is my one clothed thigh and my short portion, but just trust and believe. Just trust and believe that amazing things are happening right now. Currently, I'm at about 27 inches, and for my height, 43 inches is most ideal. So I have another, what is that, 15 inches of crocheting to do, and then I'll do a 1 inch little like hem sort of situation. And so my plan was to do 12 inches of this regular double crochet, and I'm currently at 10 inches, I believe. So I'm going to do the 2 more inches, and then I'll come back when I'm figuring out how I'm going to go about doing the flare. I was still maybe a little bit unsure whether I was going to do the flare, but looking at these, I feel like they're like not super wide to the point where like a flare would feel like too much. Like they fit very nicely. I do predict that the yarn will stretch out, not the yarn, but the fit will stretch out over time, or not over time, but just like with wear, and then you wash it, whatever. But even if it does loosen up a bit, I'm glad with where it's at, because it's not going to get obnoxiously too big. So I'll see you in about 2 inches / whenever I figure out how I'm going to do the flare, because I think I want to do it a lot more subtly than how I've done my other blue, like more typical flare pants. Also, if you're curious, this is probably about like 3.5 skeins of yarn so far, and I would presume the rest of this will take 1 more skein, and this will take 2 more skeins. I only have 2 skeins, so at one point I will have to go to the store to pick up more yarn, but such is life. Anyways, feeling very good about these. These are literally super duper comfortable. Very much so looking at this strap though, like I want to make it longer. And those are all my thoughts for now. Hi, it's a few days later. My room may or may not be a bit shifted around since the last time you saw it. That's a conversation for another video. But I did in fact get my extra 2 inches done for this side. It ended up being kind of a hot mess express, because if you can't see, something that is really important to me when I'm looking at really good quality crochet is that I notice that people turn their work every row. Essentially, if you are crocheting like something flat, just like a rectangle type situation, you automatically turn every row. But when you're working in the round, you don't naturally think to like flip your work every time you finish a row. And essentially this kind of, but this actually kind of looks good. This is how it looks as opposed to this when you don't turn your work. For some reason it looks good here. I think because I was crocheting only in the back loop. Oh, here, this is the ugly side. So this is the ugly side of the crochet, versus on my pants, it's fully balanced between the pretty side and the ugly side. It's gonna be really helpful to have this rack here for discussing things. But anyhow, essentially a few rows into this leg, not a few rows in, a few rows of my 2 inches, I realized I forgot to turn. So I had to backtrack and redo a good 8 rows, but we're here. I'm going to now walk you through how I plan on creating my slight flare shape. This is my first time filming with this new setup and I actually quite like it. I feel like I like that you can see my crochet clothes. Now you can tell that I'm on a bed, but it feels cozy, I don't know. One thing to mention real quick, to those of you who work on pants from bottom up, like you make both legs of your pants and then you connect them and start working on the hips. Are you okay? Are you okay? Anyways, I didn't know that was a thing until maybe 2 years ago, and I saw some, like, I feel like pants kind of have their rise and flow, but maybe 2 years ago, crochet pants were definitely a thing. And I noticed most of the videos I was watching, people would start from the ankle. And that just perplexes me. Anywho, this is my secret stash of notions and crochet hooks. I got this when I accidentally lost my 2mm hook at a movie theater, and now it's come in handy so many times that I can't imagine not having it. This is my main one. This is the one that I travel with. I really like it because it has ergonomic hooks and it has aluminum hooks, and then it also just has this cute little pouch in here and room for me to just like stick random stuff. Usually, like, I'll also have like a measuring tape and some yarn scissors, and I like that it's like a double pouch. This is definitely the best. I probably have 3 crochet hook sets in my life, and this is the best one. I will try to find it and keep it in the description. Anywho, this one also is pretty good, and I think it was only like $7, but I wouldn't say that I like how this is organized as much, but it makes for a good like top-up situation. I grabbed it because I need some stitch markers. I really don't use stitch markers too often just because of the way that I structure the silhouette of my projects. I don't often need a stitch marker. Every once in a blue moon, I would say. Pants are the time that I use stitch markers the most, because essentially what I'll be doing is creating a bell shape by putting increases in 3 points around the pants. Now, crazy people, some crocheters might just kind of like put the 3 points wherever as they're crocheting, but I kind of like a more gradual, exponential type vibe, and I feel like if you're putting it theoretically around in the same place, that just makes for a better look. This actually took me quite a bit of time to figure out in terms of how to get the right flare shape, because I mean, I feel like naturally you might think, oh, like to get the flare you just increase every row. No, if you increase every row, it's gonna like umbrella out, and that's not the look that you want. If you increase every other row just 2 points, it's going to kind of like have a very flat sort of incline, which is fine. I would say that works better for a skirt. That's how I make my skirts. I increase 2 points about every row. But for pants, and specifically for this little flare bell type shape, I like to increase 3 points. That creates like a little bell tent type vibe. And I like to space them out a good bit. So I would say I do the increase every 3rd row. These I'm considering doing every 4th row just because they're already kind of wide, and I really don't want these to be super wide. So I'm gonna try every 4th row and then figure it out, or then make a decision. But yeah, that's the crux of it. Right now I'm just kind of going through, and as close as possible, I'm going to evenly space my stitch markers or my increases, just so that that tent shape is nice and evenly dispersed. That I would say is kind of important, making sure that you're placing your increases, you know, about equidistant away from each other. That's a lot easier said than done, but I would recommend. This yarn doesn't always make a sound, but currently it's making a bit of a scratchy sound. And I don't know what causes the change for when it is having the scratchy sound versus when it isn't. Something to think about. My goal is I would like to finish this pant leg at bare minimum by the end of this weekend, and ideally, in the perfect world, I would like to finish these pants by the end of this month. Today is November 26th. Next Friday is November 1st, so we have about 6 days. I feel like I can finish up a 1/4 of a pant leg plus 1 whole pant leg in 6 days if I'm really committed. And that I am really committed. Okay, I think I can put a stitch marker in. We'll go like 1 more. And essentially, to increase, I'm literally just putting 2 double crochets in 1 stitch as opposed to 1 double crochet. That's how I increase. I don't actually know. I guess you could, well, no, that wouldn't make sense. I'm sure other people increase in different ways, and I would be curious how this would change if I was using a different stitch. Like, because I'm using double crochets, I feel like it stacks very nicely the way I do it. But if you were to use a 1/2 double crochet or a single crochet, I would guess that you would probably change the interval, as in like the amount of times that you're increasing, or like how many rows in between you're increasing, you know? But I don't know, because I refuse to use any other stitch besides a double crochet, at least as my foundation. When it comes to like the detail finishing bits, love a single crochet, love a slip stitch, but the body of my pieces are always going to be double crochet, and that's on knowing hook sizes. I just feel like it's quite the cop-out when people are like, oh, I don't like double crochets because they're too holy. Like, they expose, you know, whatever. I look at them and I think to myself, they've never used anything little or smaller than a 4mm hook. And to that I say, explore, find a new horizon. Hook sizes literally impact so much between hook sizes and tension. Even this, like, I'm using a 5mm hook. This could be a lot more holy, and like I can't see through. Like, I can see light come through, but I can't actually like see things through the pant, and that's just on tension, really. So yeah, which makes me bring up another thing. I'm just yapping. Whenever I have a video go viral, people will like call out how I crochet kind of differently. I kind of crochet, I guess, how you would knit. I don't know. I never knew I was crocheting in a different way. But anyways, they always say that like the way I crochet isn't time efficient, which always makes me laugh because like, who are you to say? But also it makes me laugh because while they might be correct in the sense that I can't like, I feel like then if you like the knife crochet method or whatever, them girls be going fast. They be going real fast. And I can't speak for them and their tension, but I can say that in the manner that I crochet, I feel like it's easier to have a very consistent tension, whether you want that to be tighter or looser. And I don't know, that's pro for me. It always catches me off guard when people call out how I crochet, and that's probably why I don't just like include clips of me crocheting throughout the YouTube videos. But I guess I could start. I suppose I could start. So here we have one row done, and as you can tell, it has the ever so slight signs that it's increased a bit, but like I said, I want this to be extremely gradual, so I'm going to double crochet regular for 3 rows and then increase in the 4th row, and I'll show you what that looks like. I ended up doing like 8 rows, so 2 rounds of the increase, and this is where we're currently at. Very much so gradual, very soft, and exactly what I was wanting. The legs of these are already on the wider end, so I don't want too dramatic of a flare at all, but this is where we're at. If I had to guess, let's see, I'm about 8 rows in. I'm thinking that, I don't have to think actually, I can measure. My leg length from like my rise to the ground is about 43 inches. So I usually shoot for somewhere between 42 to 43 inches for my pants. Recently I've been getting a little bit short though, so I'm going to try to not do that. Without the flare, we are at about 31 inches. So with the flare, we're looking at about 11-ish inches, and then I'll have about like a 1/2 inch hem around it. We're currently at about 33 inches, so we have a good 9 more inches of flaring to do. I will see you after I've eaten. And do we think that I can complete 22 rows of this? I think so. It's currently 12:24. I'm going to eat, come back, crochet a fair amount, and we will see where we're at. But the lucky number is somewhere around 22/24. I think realistically like 24 more rows. It is quite a while later, as you can tell by the fact that the sun is no longer out. It's currently 7:38. And I have been crocheting all day. There were a few moments where I wanted to put it down forever, like get out the house, go for a walk, and then there was supposed to be a Trump rally, so I don't really want to go on my walk. But then it turns out they're postponing, or the rally's actually Monday, which is annoying because I could have went on my walk, but whatever. I am not sure if I got to the length that I need to get to, but I did run out of yarn in the skein, so I figured that was a good opportunity to sort of check in. Let's do a little measuring. Maybe you would like to see. Okay, so I put this little stitch marker here to show me where I started increasing for my flare, just so I didn't have to count, and I love that for me. I'm currently at 11 inches of flare, which is good news. My total length is only 41 inches though, and I fear that is too short. I definitely need to be at 42 inches, if not like 42 and a half slash, wait, is this correct? I might have actually just been measuring that weird because I'm sitting on a bed. Let's try that again. Okay, JK, I'm right at 42 inches, a little bit past 42 inches, maybe even 42 and a half inches. What was I about to be blabbering on about? I don't know. I think the smart thing to do would be to try this on. I mean, considering I'm going to have to figure out my next steps anyways, I might as well do it very informed, and I'll let you know what I'm thinking. I'm actually speechless. This might just be the most well-fitting thing. I feel like I say that after any challenging piece. This wasn't necessarily challenging, but it was like in my head because I am not 100% happy with some of the fit of the other pants that I've made this year for various reasons. There was like an internal challenge for these to be like a really good fit, especially with me trying a more looser fit. I just wasn't sure how it was gonna go, and as I was creating the flare, it was starting to like get really wide, and I wasn't sure if it was like too wide, and I was starting to like lose my flare over bell vision. But hello, should I put on like taller shoes so you can better see? These are one of my favorite Ugg slippers, very platform. Hopefully you can see the bottom better. But yeah, these are literally perfect. The flare on them is very much so a flare, not a bell. If you're curious, they do feel very warm. So I will say this is going to be a fall winter pant for me. I'm obsessed, and I fear I'm going to have to make at least another pair before the year ends. As to what I want to do in terms of continuing the length, I do think I want to get it to exactly 43 inches, if not a little bit longer than 43 inches. I'm actually tempted to try it on with a pair of sneakers. These are my victims. I won't be a weirdo and try the one without socks though. That would be kind of strange. Yeah, I definitely think adding, I'm currently like, so I'm doing like series of 4, and I did the first row, which is an increase, and the second row, which is the first row of regular double crochets. So I think I'm going to do the following row of regular double crochets and then stop and do my little hem bit, and that'll be perfect. Currently they're like not touching the ground at all, but they're also like a little bit higher than I would like, especially because I primarily wear Air Forces or other platform shoes, and I want them to like very nicely lay over my shoe, even if that means they're touching the ground ever so slightly. But this also gives you a better idea of the fit. Now ask me, Taylor, are you hot right now? I'm so hot, but my room is also really hot right now. I think the heat is on. So that means that in 50-40 degree weather, these will be perf. slay. Right, I will meet you back at the bed once I do that additional row of regular double crochets to kind of explain my hem process. Okay, I'm back, showered, eaten, and I completed that one additional row. So let's measure a wee bit to see where we're at. I also need to actually take notes. I've only been taking notes from my iPad for this one because I'm starting a new design notebook since my old one is starting to get full, but I just haven't quite made the transfer. Measuring tape. The current length is 42.5 inches, so when I add this little hem bit that I like to do, it should be right at 43 inches. Additionally, the width of the belt, oh, it's so perfect. The width of the flare is 13.5 inches. I usually end up around 15 inches, which leads the girls in my comments to kind of debate whether or not it's a bell bottom or a flare. But I feel like at 13.5 inches, that's appropriately a flare, in my opinion. I don't know. I feel like every crocheter has their particular way that they like to finish up their edges. Some crocheters will just do a single crochet. In the past, I used to do a single crochet with a slip stitch around, but I figured maybe about 2 years ago, I started doing like an actual hem sort of situation where I finish my main length and then I crochet a row of single crochets and then a row or 2 or 4 of double crochets and flip it in and then slip stitch it closed. I'm going to show you what a difference that makes. So this is how it looks currently without the hem bit, and I'll come back with the hem. But boom, it's a very slight difference, but I feel like in wearing my clothing, this little extra bit of structure just makes it feel even more, I hate to say more like real clothes, because even without this it would be real clothes, but more like a finished product, I'll put it that way. I'm so happy to have this leg done. Literally it's a slight, ever so slight color variations for me. Am I tripping, or is it ever so slight? I'm very happy to have accomplished my goal. It's currently 10:19. I have been reading before bed, so I know I definitely am going to want to save a little bit of my evening for that, but I do still have a little bit of energy. So let's see how much of this skein I can finalize. I'm thinking that after this one, I'll only need to order 2 more skeins. My local Michaels does have some in stock, and I'm currently going back and forth on whether I should go in store so that I can maybe like just like look at it, or if I should just order it for pickup. I think that's going to be a decision I make in the morning. For now, let's get cracking on this. It's 6 o'clock. I literally just rushed all day to try to finish the skein of yarn for these pants so that I could go on my walk, go to Michael's, well, place an order for pickup, go to Michael's, get it. There's a Chipotle by the Michaels, so I was gonna get my Chipotle after I got my Michaels as a treat for finishing the skein. And the Michaels closed at 7, which fully makes sense. It is in fact Sunday, but that means I'm not getting my yarn today, so I can't continue to work on this the rest of the evening, and I'm not getting Chipotle. And it doesn't make sense to get Chipotle another day, so I'm just gonna have to wait a few days before I get you. You might be thinking, just get Chipotle when you go tomorrow. It doesn't make sense to get Chipotle for lunch. You know, like I went Chipotle for dinner. And tomorrow, I know it's gonna be a good dinner that's going to be cooked here, so. Anyways, I will see you either tonight for a try on, but honestly, probably tomorrow. I'm trying to attempt a fun and funky camera angle. Let me know if it's working out. But anyways, it is actually a few days later. Oh wait, today is Tuesday. Oh my god, I literally thought today was Wednesday. Whoa. Well, anyways, I didn't end up getting the yarn yesterday. What the heck? The fact that today is Tuesday is actually throwing me off. Well, anyways, this was where I got before I got the yarn, and a few things to point out. I can't tell if you can tell from this angle, but there are a few spots where like the shade of blue is like ever so slightly different, which honestly usually doesn't happen with my projects. Like there might be one other piece that I can think of behind me that has like a slight color difference between the different skeins. This one isn't like super egregious to where it's like annoying me, but it is like something that I'm consciously thinking of. And so when I went to go get the yarn, I was low-key stressing about it. Literally what is going on? In the strangest turn of events, I bought two, but I only have one. I'm guessing the other one is on my card floor because I definitely bought two. That's weird. Anywho, it's pretty late tonight. I just wanted to show this, and now I feel like this clip isn't even finished because I only have one. Well, see you in the morning, I guess. I don't know. It's the next day, and I found the other yarn. It was literally sitting on my seat in the car. Anyways, I ended up finding like what I think is the perfect color match, at least to the other skein. There were some slight variations in store, so I'm glad I did go in and like pick it myself instead of just picking up the order. If you're curious, this one is from April 2024, supposedly from the dye lot, and this one is from October 2023. So now, comparing to my pants, honestly, I think I did good. I mean, I think it's as good as it's gonna get. So, we have much to go on our regular double crochets before we get to the flare, and I'm just gonna grind them out. Today is Wednesday, October 30th. Tomorrow is Halloween, and I would really like to have these pants done by the end of the day tomorrow so that I have it like a finished project for October. Let's see if we can make it happen.
Okay, I won't spoil it. He loves him some Janine, and the way how he is about that energy, it's just my type. He's very smart, you know, very particular, very like, yes, I'm not gonna need anything else but what I would need. Period. That's right. Hear me out. It's like they all make sense. They all make sense. Oh, hear me out. See a difference. I lost my other hear me out, but I had a couple. Okay, I'm not going. Okay, can I put my honorable mentions in there? I like
Happy November 1st. Yeah. Yesterday, I do think I worked on these pants a bit. Actually, I think I worked on them quite a bit. I got to the point where I've started on the increases for the flare, but if you can't hear in my voice, I am sick again. That's honestly have been a big theme for honestly like the past 2 years. It's just like me getting sick in like the most annoying ways, which obviously the first thing to go when I'm sick is usually crochet, just because then I have to focus all my energy in the work that more consistently pays me, and then resting all the rest of the time. Yesterday I didn't get sick or didn't start feeling sick until like midday, so I had finished most of my work by then, and so I did end up crocheting a little bit. But anyways, I say that all to say I did not complete my goal of finishing these pants by the end of October. I also cannot finish the skein to save my life. Like, between being sick and also just kind of like being at the point in this project where I'm like, actually, can we talk about that? I don't know what it is, but there comes a point in nearly every project where I'm no longer excited. I'm honestly more anxious more than anything, and the anxiousness comes from like feeling unsure about certain decisions that I made. In this case, I'm feeling very unsure about the hook size. If you've seen some of my past crochet pieces, I do prefer to use a much smaller hook. Right now I'm using a 5mm hook, but typically I'm using like, the biggest that I go typically is a 3mm hook, and I'll work with a 2.5 or even a 2mm. But because initially these pants like start off as just sort of like a fun way to use up yarn that I've had for a long time, I just felt that the 5mm was the most practical choice, just because I was really trying my best to not have to buy more yarn. Obviously, as it should turn out, I did in fact have to buy more yarn. Regardless, because of those decisions, now I'm kind of just like, I mean, considering the hook size that I used, I feel like it doesn't look very holey at all. In fact, I haven't been able to see my underwear at all in all the times that I've tried on the pants, and I've been wearing like colorful underwear, so I definitely would have been able to see it. I think more so what I'm worried about in terms of the larger hook size is like these stretching out a lot in like a weird way, and yeah, I don't know. And honestly, like this whole like anxious feeling that I get around this time, it's not even really like a, it's not really like a, usually it's something that I get over like as soon as the project finishes, or honestly like a day or two after I finish the project, because even the day that I finish the project, I'm usually a bit like, but like that next day, the day after I finish a project, usually I kind of like come to my senses and I'm like proud of the work that I did. Even if I see room for improvement, I'm still for the most part proud and excited to wear it. And I think because of the nature of these and my journey of crochet pants throughout the past year especially, I haven't really found like the right pant. I haven't made the right pant for me to like really be excited about wearing them out. And I think I was really hoping that I would feel that way with these, but at this current point I'm unsure, and most of that unsurety I'm putting on the hook size. That being said, these pants have served me in the purpose of feeling re-inspired to go back and make some edits to my original crochet flare pants that I finished, these that I finished at the beginning of the year, as well as even my purple ones, just because I really like the loose, more loungy fit of these as opposed to the tighter fit, and I feel like the blue pair from the beginning of the year, kind of because of the fact that I was making them at points where I was gaining weight, losing weight, all sorts of things, I don't feel like they fit me the best. A lot of comments like to call me out on that, and when I was making them I kind of was still going for more of the like fitted flared pant look, but it doesn't really work with how baggy almost the crotch section is on me and how heavy I feel like the flare to almost Bella, for being honest, is at the bottom. So I think by loosening up the area around the legs and making a more subtle flare on the blue ones, as well as potentially changing the waistline. Currently I have an elastic waist in it, and I'm going to see how I like the tie waist in these to decide if I want to change those. But I literally look at them all the time and I'm always like, I would love to be able to wear these out, but there's just those subtle fit things that I'm just not willing to deal with. Same goes for the purple ones, honestly. Those I would say more all around are a tighter fit in a theoretically good way, but because of how the mesh paneling is on it, I feel like it should have a more lax loungy vibe. And so if I didn't have the mesh paneling, I don't think I would mind the fittedness, just because it does actually fit me very well. But because of the mesh, there's something about the tight fit that just, I don't know. So those two are back on the cutting board because of course, literally of course. I think I'm also thinking about this because I recently have been gravitating towards this one cardigan right here that I made back in March or April of this year. I'll put the video that I originally made it in there. But when I made it, I mean, we were going into like spring, so the weather just didn't necessarily warrant a cardigan necessarily. But also I wasn't super wowed by it, and it honestly wasn't until earlier this month when I brought it with me on a trip for the sole reason that I was working on another fun cardigan that I'll tell you about in a later video. But I was using like the silhouette of the yellow cardigan to figure out some things for this other fun and funky cardigan. Because I was traveling with the yellow one and that was my only cardigan, whenever it would get chilly, I just automatically would use that as my cardigan, and I now love it. Like, I literally have styled it twice in the past week in ways that I loved both ways, and now I'm trying to think of what other color I would make of it, because originally, I'm just yapping at this point, but it's distracting me from crocheting. So all this time that I've been making or been talking about making the purple pants, I said that I was going to make a matching cardigan for it, but when I kind of start to feel kind of so-so about the fit of the pants, I was starting to feel less and less inspired with the cardigan, even though I did actually start the cardigan, and the cardigan is just a purple version of the yellow one. And now I'm like, so maybe if I can get the fit right for the pants and I feel like I have enough yarn, maybe we will in fact make the purple matching cardigan, because that as a set would actually eat. That's currently, I guess, some updates and thoughts. I did go to the doctor today to I was already scheduled to go to the doctor, but it was actually helpful that I am actively sick, because she was able to clarify that the sickness I'm experiencing is from allergies and not just from like cold or flu, which I'm appreciative of, because now I'm on medicine that's actually like attacking the allergy, and because the cold and flu medicine was just like not working. So hopefully being on that medicine throughout the next weeks, I'll notice an improvement, because being sick is not fun. It never has been fun, but these days it especially is not fun. I'll check back in when I finish the skein. Thanks for having that lovely conversation with me. I actually feel motivated to get this done. So it's currently 6:50. Let's see how long it takes me to finish the skein. Finish the skein.
They're trying to sell the house. They put all the furniture in it, so it helps, you know, the prospective buyers see the spaces for what they can be. And it's the same thing I feel like they did with the last ones in the box. Or just having the boxes available. So yeah, I'm gonna stamp these boxes. Oh, I need to make the brown pumpkin for my vendor neighbor. Create a whole listing for yeah, I've got 2 or 3. And I'm pretty much just gonna do the picture and then the basic info.
This is my best attempt at a full body angle. We're still getting used to the new room. Anyways, here's where we're at. I have, I don't know, probably like a solid 10 more rows left to do on this side, but I finished that skein. It's currently 11:30, but I probably finish more so like 11:15. I did like eat dinner and I have been like on my phone and stuff, so I feel like I probably updated like 3 hours ago. It did not actually take me 3 hours to finish. I was very much so just vibing. I am starting to like the fit of these a lot better. I would say I'm like truly starting to see the vision and get excited about them. They're very much so starting to look and feel like the pants that I was imagining. There is one little fun and funky detail that I'm currently deciding whether or not I want to add to them, but I haven't made my mind up about it, so I haven't discussed it yet. But just know there is a fun and funky detail on my mind, yet to be determined if it will actually be applied. But I don't know, they're slaying. Anywho, I need to get to editing my video for this Sunday, which should be part 1 of this video where I'm making shorts. I will see you probably whilst I'm completing the last little bit, unless I decide to do more. I don't know. I guess we'll see. Stay tuned. Having an internal freak out, and I thought this was actually the perfect time to show you guys what an internal freak out, because this happens at bare minimum once or twice a project. especially with pants, I found matching the second leg to the first leg, while you would think it'd be easier, there's subtle things that can go on that, in this case, my second leg, which is my left leg, I believe, then when I was decreasing, I don't know if I just didn't, like, I might have added an extra stitch when I attached, just because I couldn't fully tell where all the chains were, because it just kind of gets a little finicky. But whatever happened, my decreases weren't matching up with the right leg, so I added a few extra decreases. The thought was that I added 2 extra decreases, and so I was going to take away two stitches from the length of just regular double crochets before I get into the flare. In my math, I added 3 extra double crochets or extra decreases, took away 2 regular double crochets, which is all fine and dandy, but it means that my regular double crochets went 1 row further into my flare, which means, now this is where we get into the crochet of it all. In crochet, you're flipping your work constantly. Even if you're in the round, a good crocheter flips their work constantly. So you have a right side and a wrong side, which is essentially the front side of the stitch and the back side of the stitch. They alternate constantly to where it just looks like the fabric itself. But the reason that happens is because you're flipping back and forth, back and forth. So as I'm about to be finishing up, I literally am now 4 rows away. Thought I was 5 rows away. I actually thought I was 1 row away, but who cares? Currently, oh, actually no. Wait. Okay, I think, yeah, I thought I was 4 rows away. I'm actually 3 rows away from finishing because I did not properly math. And by math, it's really just knowing what happens when you add or subtract, like understanding how that changes the things. And because I didn't properly math, when I started my flare, my little increases for my flare, which happen every 4th row. So the 1st row, 4th row, 8th row, 12th row, so on and so forth. On the left leg, that increase happens on the wrong side. But on the right side, the first leg, it happens on the right side that I'm looking at. So this is extra complicated by the fact that I'm working inside out because I like to preserve the yarn and like not be roughing it up as I'm like tossing it a bunch. I say that all to say that I had a brief moment of panic where in my mind I was thinking that I was doing the stitch on the side. I was thinking I was doing the increase on the same side that I'd been doing on the other leg. And I was so confident that I was doing it on the same side as the other leg, but I didn't even check. So now that I'm having this moment of like, and I'm realizing, no girl, you did not do the increase on the same side, which is okay. It's okay, but it was about to drive me crazy because I was like, I've been turning my work every row, like everything looks correct, so why is this not matching up? And it's because 1 extra row of decreases, 1 extra row of decreases, that at this point I truly can't tell you if it was intentional or not, but regardless, I didn't counteract with the right amount of regular double crochets. Now that I know that I am not insane, I feel like I can complete the last 3 rows for this little flare, do my 1 row of single crochets and 2 rows of double crochets and slip stitches for the hem, and call these pants a day. Actually, no, I will also be fixing up this waistband. But anyways, that was a glimpse inside my brain. You're welcome.
Expression I love you so much. Well, maybe it's so
It's literally, I don't know, less than an hour later, and I am done with my hem and everything, so I can take my stitch markers out. If you ask me, like, am I excited about the fact that I'm done with these, I'm low-key a little bit emo about it. Like, I have so many other projects that I'm excited to work on, but like, it was very comforting to know that like this was the project that I was giving all my attention to for the past, I've literally been working on this now over the course of 3 months. I mean, it's literally November 3rd, so like, and like when I started it in September, I took a big gap between working on it for reasons of location. Let's turn her right side out. This is how she's looking. I would say they're definitely like a pretty solid pant. Like, weight wise, I would probably honestly have to guess that they're definitely a pound, maybe a pound and a half, maybe even 2 pounds. But okay, before I show you guys, I need to make this tie longer. I can't decide if I just want to unravel this one fully, or like have like a fresh clean one, or like start with whatever progress this one has. For the sake of my sanity, I think I'm just going to unravel this one to the chain, like take out all these slip stitches, and then add whatever length I want to add. Definitely probably another 100 chains, and then slip stitch it again and just attach whatever yarn needs to be attached. I think that's the best course of action here. I will see you later tonight once everything is done and I'm back from my little daily walk. No. Can we be serious right now? Hello, this looks so freaking good. As you can see, I did make the tie longer. I feel like this is such a better length. It made it so much easier to like get it to a tightness that feels comfortable. The freaking flare of it all is literally perfection. Like literally perfection. These pants feel so soft. Like I cannot, once again, I always talk about the trope that especially crochet, because crochet is more likely to use acrylic. I did use acrylic, but there's the idea that crochet is just so hot and itchy. It's hot and itchy. While I can't speak to the warmth of these because this is a pretty heavy pant, so I'm going to presume that it'll be good for fall, winter, and like going into spring. I fear you probably won't be catching me in these in summer. As far as itch, there is no itch to be seen. There is not an ounce, okay, an ounce of itch to be seen. I feel so comfortable. Like everywhere feels extremely comfortable. But okay, let me get into the details. So I have on a top that I made back in 2022. I literally love this top. I've washed it so many times. That's why I had pretty good faith in using this yarn for pants. Now with the top, I did use a 3mm hook. For the pants, I used a 5mm for reasons I already discussed in this video. I'm still like going back in my brain whether or not on my next go round, because I am gonna have to make these again, but on the next go round, if I would want to try it with a 3mm. I guess I'll just have to see how these like hold up after wearing them around a bit, but I will spin around for you, get into the backlessness of it all. But anyways, spinning. The pants are literally like at the ground, like they are hovering right over the little toesies. I have on some Christmas socks right now, but with shoes, I fear they probably won't touch the ground, and if they do, it's just like a little tiny kiss of the ground. I don't really know what to say other than I slayed this. I fear. I couldn't really tell you how long these took me, but if I had to guess, I don't feel like they took me as long as these took me. And honestly, I don't really feel like they took me as long as the purple pants. And that was like 65 hours. So I would probably say maybe more so in like the 50 to like 58 hour range if I had to guess. But like I said, I wasn't really keeping track of it, so I couldn't really tell you. I'm honestly really impressed with how they feel. I think I'm actually going to keep wearing them for the rest of the evening until I go to bed because I am so comfortable, and I just want to see like how does it feel. The one thing that like in my head that bothers me is the 5mm hook of it all, if I'm being honest, and that's just like a me vanity ego thing where like at NYGC we use small hooks for as many things as we can. Kind of feels like a cop-out when I use a bigger hook. So either I'll get over that, or you will see a future video of me making these with 3mm hook. I guess you'll have to stay tuned to find out. I'll give you one last spin around. Anyways, goodbye guys. Hi, it's a week or so later and I still love the pants, love looking at them, but I haven't worn them really quite yet for one major reason. Because they're so heavy, while the tie waist definitely helps, it needs a little bit something else. And I was going through all my notions and extra stuff, and I found this already sewn together elastic that is going to be like the perfect tightness to hopefully just cinch in the waist ever so slightly. I just need an ever so slight waist. Actually, this one is like 1/2 inch. It will fit perfectly. Okay, I also have this one that's a little bit tighter. I don't know if it'll fit. Yeah, this one won't quite fit. I could fold it though. It would fit if I fold it. What should I do, you guys? The only reason why I'm now questioning if I should do the single or folding this over is because since the yarn is so heavy, even if I put this in there, I don't know if it's gonna quite do exactly what I want, but if I put this in, fold it over, I think it'll be perfect. Will it fit? It will fit perfectly. I'm going to do this one. I'm going to stick with my gut and do this one because I think this is the thing that's stopping me. Are they heavy? Yeah, but that doesn't really matter to me as much as making sure that the fit on my waist is good. Okay. This is them currently, and to be honest, there's not really that much difference between how heavy these feel versus the sweatpants that I just had on, so the weight is really not an issue in the slightest. But I do feel like I do want that like slight scrunched look that I don't feel like the tie is necessarily giving, that I think will make the overall fit of these seem more intentional, because currently it just kind of looks like I'm tying this really tight, which is what I'm doing. And like it's comfortable, this like stays up here when I initially tie it, but after a while, once this tie like loosens a little bit, then I feel like these start to like sag down. They're really showing off right now, okay? So you're not really gonna believe me, but just know this little slight update I think is gonna be the answer, especially for like the back butt part. They're too good, and I want to feel excited to wear them, so let's make that happen. This is actually a very easy fix because all it requires is me to find my tail and unravel my slip stitches that like hemmed all this together, if you remember. And because I hemmed the bottom of the waistband and the top of the waistband, or like I slip stitch those separately, I don't even have to like redo both sets of slip stitches. I only have to redo the bottom set of slip stitches. I just finished, and strangely enough, that actually used a little bit less yarn. I went through every stitch, so I'm not sure why that's the case, but here we have, and as you can see, it's already like self-cinching, and I'm so excited to try these on because I already know the fit is gonna feel so much better, and like the pants can actually support the weight as opposed to before. Let's try them on. Immediately, yes. I will put a side-by-side here so you can see like how the fit looks overall, but it literally feels like even without the tie, like the pants would just stay right here, and so the tie becomes more decorative, I suppose, but I mean it's still very practical and it adds like that extra layer of support. But oh my gosh, I can now actually imagine wearing these out. I will give you full 180 here. Let me actually try it on with the matching top. I'm sorry. Once again, I'll put the clip, full body clip here, but I feel like this looks so much better. It's even low-key kind of helped the camel toe situation out, because now it actually gives more of a cinch look on my waist as opposed to it being a bit more rectangular, just because the tie itself couldn't like cinch the pant in quite enough. It's also definitely improved the look on the butt, so it's not like super saggy or anything. I mean, as I continue to say throughout this video, the nature of crochet is for it to stretch out, but doing things to help reinforce it, such as an elastic waistband, are going to make all the difference in how your piece lasts for the future. I am so glad that I came back on to make this improvement. I will in fact be wearing these pants for the rest of the day. If you would like to see more of my antics on a regular basis, make sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. If you're interested in my made to measure pieces, check out my website, NYGCbyTaylor.com, and I look forward to putting out some more wonderful, fun progress vlogs. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel so that you can watch this. Anywho, bye you guys.